Alright, we're coming back for a vengeance in Season 2. Season 2 is a thing that's going to be happening, and believe me, we will get our revenge. So last summer I tried a Pokemon Soul Silver Nuzlocke, and it went not great to say the least. I died at the second gym because I decided to just run in head first, and I vowed then to beat a Nuzlocke. For those who don't know what a Nuzlocke is, it's a self-imposed set of rules designed to make Pokemon games harder. You can only catch the first Pokemon in each area, you have to name your Pokemon, and if your Pokemon faints, it dies. For my second attempt at Nuzlocking, I decided to play Pokemon Black, because it's the game that I have the most experience with. I booted up my emulator. I named myself Brando because I could, met my two best friends who I definitely won't grow to hate over the course of the run, and chose a Tepig who I named Chorizo. I chose Tepig because it's what I took on my first playthrough, but also because it covers most of the early gyms. Chorizo made quick work of Charon's Oshawott and Bianca's Snivy, and I got my Pokédex from Professor Juniper and started my journey. After the disaster that was the last run, I dedicated myself to years of research, and decided that I was going to put it to work, and check every route for potential rival battles and gym leader weaknesses, keeping Bulbapedia open and checking it every 5 minutes. The first wild Pokemon Chorizo and I encountered was a Patrat, which Chorizo promptly crit killed. We made it to Accumula town, where we saw a Scientologist giving a public service announcement led by L. Ron Hubbard about how people should be releasing their Pokemon. Before they left, Tom Cruise tried to fight me, but I showed him that I'm a free thinker. I was informed of the Pokemon League and how the first gym was only a town over, so I took care of some very important business at Accumula town before making my way over to Stridon City. I caught a Lillipup who I named Josh, and together we marched into Stridon City, where I had to go to trainer college before I could challenge the gym. After accumulating thousands of dollars in Pokédebt, I headed into the nearby Dreamyard, where I got a free grass monkey who I named Chief Keef. The way the Stridon gym works is that you go against a gym leader who covers your starter's type advantage, so in this case, I had to fight Cress, who uses a water monkey. Chief Keef made quick work of his inferior water monkey, and I was on my way. Except I wasn't, because I had to go watch the Scientologists try to beat up a Munna in the Dreamyard, and also set up online features, which wouldn't work anyway in the first place, because I'm playing on an emulator. Anyways, I caught a Munna in the Dreamyard who I named Lumpy Space Princess and promptly threw in the box. Before getting on my merry way to New Town and the second gym, the grind got real, and Chorizo evolved into a Pignite, and Josh evolved into a Herdier. Charon tried to fight me again, but I embarrassed him before having to deal with Scientologists stealing a girl's Pokemon. Charon and I rescued this girl's Pokemon, but on my way out, I was assaulted by a Woobat, who I caught and named Sheldon. I also caught a Pidove named Spice Girl on Route 3 while I beat up several preschoolers who were playing on the route. I arrived in New Town where I fought Tom Cruise again before hitting the gym, where I used my Pokesmarts that I got in Trainer College to get to the second gym leader, Lenora. Lenora only uses 2 Pokemon, a Herdier and a Watchog. The Watchog has Retaliate though, a move that does devastating damage if it's used after a Pokemon in the party faints. My plan was to send out Josh to deal with the Herdier and then switch Chorizo in to kill Watchog, but I forgot to put him first, so Chief Keef went out. I ended up having to switch Chorizo in to tank the Herdier's takedown and use Arm Thrust to kill it. Knowing that Chorizo wouldn't be able to take Retaliate, I put Josh in, used Next Defend, and prayed. He took the hit, and after using Takedown, he was brought down to 1 HP. After healing Josh and Chorizo came in and cleaned up the mess. I got the basic badge. Immediately after though, the Scientologist has stolen a dragon skull from the museum, and of course it was up to me to get it back. As I chased the Scientologist through the forest, I caught a Timpole, who I named Pepe. Feels good, man. Spice Girl tore through all the bugs in the forest, and I got the skull back. As it turns out, Scientology also has some druids working for them, and they managed to escape. I made it to Castelia City, where before I could challenge the gym, I had to deal with more Scientologists, even though I just dealt with some Scientologists. I did get to have a nice talk with L. Ron Hubbard, who told me that Scientology aims to accumulate wealth by taking people's Pokemon and using them to boost membership numbers to get around Unova tax law. I told him very sternly to go away, and I got to go through the bug gym with my fire and fighting type starter. I got the insect badge and also put on the Castelia City wanted list for arson. I showed Charon and Bianca the power of my years of research and began marching through the sand toward Nimbasa City.
I don't like sand. It's coarse and rough and irritating. And it gets everywhere.
I caught a Darumaka who I named Dr. Dre, who I promptly locked in my basement. I entered Nimbasa City where I got a bike. Neat. I helped Bianca with her daddy issues before heading towards the gym. Before I could go in, I ran into Tom Cruise again, who forced me at gunpoint to go on the Ferris wheel, where he told me that L. Ron Hubbard had named him the Pope of Scientology before challenging me to a battle. I felt fine going into this battle, as I had my years of research behind me. I'd yet to lose a Pokemon, but that all changed after this battle. Pepe managed to take out the Darumaka, but after I switched Josh in to deal with the Sigilif, he got whirlwinded, and Dr. Dre got sent out. Since Dr. Dre was underleveled, I decided to switch in Spice Girl, who got killed in 2 hits by Sigilif. It was a bad switch on my part, and Spice Girl paid the price. Chief Keef avenged Spice Girl, but the damage was done. Tom Cruise killed one of my Pokemon, and in return, I decided that I was going to kill Tom Cruise. Hi, how you doing? My name's Brandon, and if you got this far in the video, I'd greatly appreciate if you left a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, if you want, you can share this video with your friends who like Pokemon, and even if they don't like Pokemon, you should still share it with them. Anyways, that's all for now. Back to the video. The team and I had to get over the loss of Spice Girl pretty quickly in order to focus on the next gym. I gave Pepe some steroids to make him evolve into Palpitoad, since I knew that was going to be the only way to counter Ellis's Volt Switch. The only problem was that Elisa had 2 Emolgas which weren't affected by ground-type moves, so I decided to teach LSP Reflect and then put Pepe in. The plan worked flawlessly, and I got my 4th gym badge. After leaving, it appears that Charon has short-term memory loss, as he again forgot who wears the pants in this friendship, and we met the Pokemon League champion, Alder, who explained the value of friendship and whatnot. Moving to the next route, my team once again forgot that we're supposed to catch, not kill the first Pokemon on each route, but we did catch a duck on the bridge, who I named Leaf Erickson and threw in the box. I entered Driftvale City, where I had to, you guessed it, deal with even more Scientologists, who hid in a freezer this time. I caught a Vanillite, who I named Forrest Gump, and even though he went in the box, I knew that I would need him later for my fight against Drayden, the final gym leader who uses dragon types. Clay the Cowboy waited for me at the bottom of the Driftvale gym, but Chorizo and Pepe made very short work of his entire team. I was ready to teach Bulldoze to my boy Pepe, but Bianca decided to bother me again. It was around this time that I got a phone call from the Detroit Lions, offering me a 2nd round draft pick in exchange for Chief Keef, who they decided would be an excellent fit for the quarterback position. After mulling it over with him, we decided it was for the best. Chief Keef left for Detroit, and I gained a 2nd round draft pick, which I used to select Hey There Dear Lila, a deerling out of LSU. Part of my phone call with the Lions also mentioned trading me a 1st round pick for a fossil, but I told them that I didn't have a fossil yet, and they laughed at me for missing something so obvious. I laughed at them for missing so many possible good draft picks for the last 50 years and hung up the phone. I hustled my ass over to the Relic Castle, where I got the Plume Fossil, which I turned into an Archon named Rocket Man. Sheldon the Woobat was never seen again, and I caught a Sandile, who I named Green Day. En route to Mistroughton City, and my next gym badge was a Charged Stone Cave, a mysterious blue cave radiating with electricity. I caught a Clink, who I named Jimmy Neutron, and as I was making my way downtown, walking fast, faces past and I'm homebound, I was jumped by Scientology ninjas. They wanted me to talk to Tom Cruise again, who just spit in my face and laughed about my dead Spice Girl. I made him eat his words with my newly evolved Josh, and my resentment for Scientology grew. Upon entering Mistroughton City, I had to go through TSA, where they found that I still hadn't fully evolved my starter yet by the 6th gym. I explained that there must be some mistake, and I was put out to the field to grind Autonos. While I was out there, Chorizo, Pepe, and Rocket Man evolved into their final forms. I also started leveling Forrest Gump, in the process placing Autonos on the critically endangered list. Josh and Forrest Gump had a fun time playing Duck Hunt inside the gym, while I was outside beating up Charon for the 6th time now. As I was in the middle of explaining to him what the definition of insanity was, Alden stepped out of the shadows and handed me the HM for Surf. Pepe got a new move, and I went surfing back home. After returning to Mistroughton, I tore through Twist Mountain, where I caught a Bulldor, who I named Shaggy. I also found out that the Scientologists decided, since that no one was taking them seriously enough, they were going to resurrect a legendary dragon, and were going to parade it around as their god. As a firm believer in Exodus 20, lines 2 through 6, I decided that L. Ron Hubbard and Tom Cruise had to stop. I got to Iciris City, and finally got to challenge Jim without Scientologists interfering. Jimmy Neutron evolved into Clang, and he and Chorizo squared up with Bryson. Bryson decided that using Swagger on Chorizo would be a good idea. Swagger sharply raises the opponent's attack, and in exchange confuses them. Chorizo used Heat Crash, and I dusted myself off, packed my bags, and prepared to leave town. Before I could leave town though, I got jumped by ninjas again, who told me that Tom Cruise wanted me to watch him catch Zekrom, so that he could laugh at me again. He was waiting for me at the Dragon Spiral Tower, where I was ready to catch either a Golett or a Druddigan, but Forrest Gump decided that we didn't need a new teammate. Tom Cruise laughed at my lack of a legendary dragon before telling me to jump out of the Dragon Spiral Tower. I flipped him off, and he told me he'd see me at the Pokemon League. For some reason, every reasonable adult decided that I, the talented child, should be the wielder of the 2nd legendary dragon, Reshiram. We split up and started looking for the Light Stone, which contained Reshiram. I already knew where it was due to playing the game before, but I still had to go with Alder and Charon to the desert resort. While I was there, we had another tragedy. While I was looking for the stone in the sand, Forrest Gump wandered off and got stuck inside of a Cophagrigus. All that was found was his cone. With that 2nd loss, my team mourned the fact that we would have to fight Drayden and his pseudo-legendary with no type advantage. We buried the cone before heading to get the Light Stone from Lenora. I entered Appaloosa City with a lingering sense of dread, which was lightened when I got to beat up Bianca's Pokemon again. I had another meeting with L. Ron Hubbard, which pretty much went like this.
I'm going to make an announcement. Shadow the Hedgehog's a bitch-ass motherfucker. He pissed on my fucking wife. That's right. He took his hedgehog fucking Quilly dick out, and he pissed on my fucking wife, and...
Dude, this is a Wendy's restaurant.
The grind got real as I began to make decisions about the final Elite Four roster. Hey There, Dear Lila evolved into a Sawsbuck, and I caught a Gotharita, who I named Ramona Flowers, as well as a Sock, who I named Sheen. After enough grinding, we entered the gym, not sure if we would all be leaving together. Just kidding! Jimmy Neutron takes half damage from dragon attacks, and Rocket Man has dragon breath. Easy badge. After leaving, Professor Juniper talked about how much I'd grown on my journey, and gave me the Master Ball, capable of instantly catching any Pokemon. I walked up to the badge check gates after deciding on my final roster for the Elite Four. Chorizo, Ramona Flowers, Pepe, Green Day, Rocket Man, and Josh. I beat up Charon one last time, and he finally learned the meaning of friendship, something that I had grown to know over the course of my journey. I marched through Victory Road, and after grinding everybody to level 50, including a wild card for later, we walked into the Pokemon League, knowing it would be our last walk together. I decided to fight Marshall first, the fighting type specialist. I sent out Ramona Flowers to deal with his throw, but she got hurt pretty badly, so I had to have Rocket Man carry me through using acrobatics, something he's done pretty consistently through the whole run. Marshall was defeated, and I moved on to Grimsley, the dark type specialist. Grimsley's Scrafty was immediately taken out by Rocket Man using acrobatics, and his Bisharp was melted by Chorizo the second it left its Pokeball. I was prepared for Pepe to get a big kill against his Crocodile, but Earthquake almost killed Pepe. Rocket Man came in again, and acrobatics killed it. Josh finished off the Liepard, and we met Caitlin, the psychic specialist. Green Day was supposed to be my ace in the hole against Caitlin, and for later on, but was killed on the first turn by a Focus Blast from Reuniclus. Josh avenged the death and took out Caitlin's whole team after worked up crunches. Finally, we faced off against Chantal, who specialized in ghost types. Green Day was supposed to carry me through this fight too, but in his absence I relied on Josh and his inability to be hit by ghost type moves. After taking out Chantal's Cofagrigus, Pepe was sent in to deal with Golurk, and I made an asinine switch sending in Rocket Man to deal with Jellicent. I immediately realized my mistake and sent Pepe in hoping to kill quickly with Bulldoze. Though he did his best, he was killed by a 4 times effective Energy Ball. That was the first death through this whole run that really stung. Pepe had been by my side since almost the beginning, and now he was dead. I didn't care anymore and sent Rocket Man in to get the kill with acrobatics. Rocket Man stayed in and used Ancient Power to crush Chantal's Chandelure under rocks. With the final Elite Four member defeated, I had earned my right to face the champion, but I was too late. Tom Cruise had defeated Alder. He mocked me one more time for causing 2 preventable deaths of my friends before summoning the Church of Scientology from the ground. I was told to meet him inside, and I did. The Scientology druids tried to stop me, but the gym leader showed up and cleared a path for me. I healed up, getting the chance to say goodbye to Pepe and Green Day, and took Hey There Dear Lila out of the box. While running through the church, I stumbled across Tom Cruise's room. It was no different from the room of a small child, and I had the realization that Tom Cruise wasn't to blame for all of this, but rather L. Ron Hubbard, who raised and brainwashed him. I approached Tom Cruise with this newfound compassion, and my forgiveness caused the Lightstone to activate, awakening Reshiram. Since this was the first Pokemon in the area, it was fair game. I hurled my Master Ball and gave Reshiram the most powerful name I could, Weezer. I took one last look at Weezer, Chorizo, Rocket Man, Hey There Dear Lila, Josh, and Jimmy Neutron before starting the battle. Weezer outmatched Tom Cruise's Zekrom, and he began to realize the error of his ways. He realized that the Church of Scientology isn't a real church, but rather a cult started by L. Ron Hubbard in an attempt to indoctrinate the rich elites of the world. I ended my battle with Tom Cruise, and I forgave him. Tom Cruise rejected his title of the Pope of Scientology, but before he could leave, L. Ron Hubbard looked at me with rage brewing in his eyes. Knowing that his plan would be foiled if Tom Cruise left, he threw out the same Cofagrigus that killed Forrest Gump, and poisoned Weezer. Though I was able to get closure on the death of Forrest Gump, L. Ron told me that I wouldn't be leaving here alive. Chorizo made quick work of his Bouffalant, but he took a lot of damage from head charges. L. Ron sent out a Seismitoad, but I got closure on Pepe's death by sending out Hey There Dear Lila. A single hit killed the Seismitoad, and this is when things took a turn for the worst. Elron sent out his Hydreigon, so I sent out Rocket Man to take it out with Dragon Breath and Acrobatics. Though I got a hit off, it wasn't enough, and Rocket Man was killed by Surf. My next move was to send out Weezer, but he wasn't fast enough, and the Dragon of Legend fell to L. Ron Hubbard. My options dwindling, I sent out Josh, hoping to be able to bulk through it, but in the blink of an eye, the first Pokemon I caught in the run, who had been with me since my very first meeting with Elron, was Focus Blasted. Blood boiling, I sent out Jimmy Neutron, who managed to paralyze and significantly weaken Hydreigon before being torn apart. Chorizo came in for the kill, but I needed to heal him before Elron's final Pokemon Bisharp came in. I switched out for Hey There Dear Lila and healed Chorizo, but Bisharp used X-Scissor, killing Dear Lila. Chorizo headed out, the last surviving member of the party, against Elrond's final Pokemon. Elrond tried to talk his way out of this, but after he took so many of my friends who had been along for the whole journey, he was done. Chorizo flame-charged Bisharp, and I was prepared to order him to kill Elrond. But time stopped, and the spirits of my fallen comrades appeared in front of me. They explained that if I killed Elrond, I've become no better than what he is. I realized my mistake, and drew Chorizo back into his Pokeball. Elrond was escorted out of the room by Alder and Charon, while I was left with the corpses of my party. Tom Cruise came up to me and thanked me for showing him the error of his ways. He got on Zekrom and flew away, leaving Chorizo and I alone. We had been through a lot, and we looked out at the Unova region, having completed our challenge as it started, together. Though I'd lost a lot of my party at the end of the run, the point of a Nuzlocke isn't the destination, it's the journey. It's about the unexpected bonds you make with Pokemon that you might not like at first, and how you can overcome the challenges in your own way. I beat my first Nuzlocke, avenging that doomed Soul Silver team, and I hope you had fun watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.